why being productive is a sophisticated form of avoidance. So, here is why every productivity system you have tried stopped working, and it is not the system. The frantic busyness is protecting something, and once you see what, you will understand the one thing that actually breaks the pattern. So, we are going to cover four things: what the busyness is actually doing, what you are buying and what it costs, and why better systems and more discipline fail, as well as what changes when you stop. So the busyness is working, and that is the problem. You have tried the systems: time blocking, the priority matrix, the 2-minute rule, the weekly review, not once and not casually. You are the person who actually does these things, who runs them long enough to see if they work. And every time the result is the same. A few weeks of real clarity, then the noise creeps back. The calendar fills up again. The important work gets pushed again, and you start looking for the next system. The usual story is that you just have not found the right one yet. That story is wrong. The cycle is not a sign that you are still searching, it is a sign that the busyness is doing exactly what it's meant to do. You're using your own smarts to keep it safe from every new fix you throw at it. So, put simply, the busyness is winning and you are the one helping it win. So, here is what is really going on. Most people carry around a private version of themselves that has never been tested. This is not a daydream you choose, it builds up slowly over years of putting things off. The version of you who, with the right focus and the right conditions, would finally do the real work, the thing that matters, the work that would prove the potential was there all along. That version has one trait that makes it both precious and fragile. It has never produced anything. Because it has never produced anything, every promise attached to it is still safe. The potential is whole. The picture in your head is sharp and detailed in a way your real work never is. Because real work has limits and a picture does not. Now, think about what action does. The moment you sit down to do the real thing, you get whatever you actually make. It could be a draft, a recording, a result, proof. And the picture is no longer untouched. It has been tested, and the test always comes back smaller than the fantasy, because everything real is smaller than a fantasy. So the potential turns into a result, and a result has a ceiling. The busyness stops that from happening. Every task you cross off is one more day the picture stays untested. The system is not helping you work, it is helping you stay in the loop where the potential stays whole. The real work stays in the future. And the gap between who you are and who you imagine you could be never has to actually be measured. So call this what it is: a rational trade, running underneath your character and your discipline. The cost of staying in the loop is spread thin, because the days add up and the work does not. But no single day feels like a disaster either. So the payoff of staying in the loop is right there and immediate. The picture survives one more day. That image of yourself, that potential image. So it is a slow drip of cost against a steady, clear payoff. Sorry, a clear payoff. So that is a stable trade. It can hold for a very long time. So if the trade is stable, what is actually costing you? That is with where it stops being abstract. So the trade made plain is this. So basically, what are you buying and what you are paying? So, so far the picture is almost flattering. The busyness protects a version of you that could still be great. Here is the part that is not flattering, is that that protection runs on a clock, and the clock is your actual life. To see the real price, you have to look at both sides of the trade at once. The busyness is not random, it is aimed at one thing: the moment when the unfinished work gets loud. For people in this pattern, stillness is not rest. Stillness is when the gap between the untested version and your real life shows up. The task list covers it. The meeting feels more urgent than the real work, and the mind knows this, so it takes the meeting. So if you write the trade down, it will look something like this. So I will first state what the business buys and then what it costs. So basically, it buys that the protected version stays whole and believable. And what is costing you is every day you are living right now. The busyness buys you the belief that the potential is still there, ready if you ever choose to use it, and it's costing you what 3 years of steady work would have built. And we have many more examples. So the imbalance is huge. Once you see it clearly, it makes no sense. You say, why am I doing this? It's so obvious. But it makes emotional sense for a long time because the cost arrives as a slow drip and the payoff is right now every day. So you can run this trade for 20 years and each single day will feel like a fair call. The people who run this pattern hardest are often the most driven. The picture they are protecting is so detailed because they have spent years building it. The smarter you are, the more vivid you can make that picture, and the better the system you can build to keep it safe. That is why this is so stubborn in high functioning people. Because the busyness is real. The work shows. It's not like you are not doing anything. And the system is genuinely well built. From the outside, it looks like a productive life, and from the inside, it feels like one most of the time. The gap only shows up in the quiet moments between tasks. So, knowing the cost, the natural response is to fix it, a better system or more force. Both make it worse, and here is why. So, the pattern will use whatever you give it. Remember what the busyness is actually guarding, the untested version of you, kept safe by never producing evidence. So hold on to that because it explains what you are about to recognize. The productivity world says that the fix is better structure. Time blocking, the priority matrix, theme days, deep work rules, all of it rests on one belief. The reason you are not doing the important work is bad design, and better design will solve it. You already know how this goes because you have run it. The new system arrives and the first few days feel different. The calendar is clean, the priorities are ranked. For a week, maybe two, you feel the machine working. And a small part of you think this might be the one. Then a deadline lands. Then a meeting runs long. The clean calendar gets one exception, then another, and within a month, you are back in the noise. Except now you have a beautifully designed system documenting how far you have drifted from it. So you assume the system was flawed, and you start researching the next one. You have done this 3, 5, 10 times. The framework changes every time, and the result never does. So sit with that for a second, because it is the tell. If 10 different well-built systems all produce the same drift, the systems are not the variable. The pattern is, and the pattern bends to fit. So give it a time block schedule and it fills the block with real prep. Give it a priority matrix and it finds reason. The important thing is less urgent than 10 other things. Give it a no meeting Wednesday and it produces a writing session that feels productive while staying safely inside what you already know, far from the real work. The protection uses whatever system you install. It has had years of practice. It is better at this than your new framework. Then discipline feels like the honest answer, then, right? The one that skips the gimmicks. You have tried this too. The 5 a.m. alarm, the cold shower, the promise that this time you will just force it through. Its premise is that your output is held back by how much pain you can take. So raise the threshold and the work follows. That holds for one thing only, comfort. If you have gone soft and need a shock, pushing harder generally helps. But this block is a protection mechanism, and you cannot punish your way out of one. It exists to guard against a specific pain, and that is finding out what you actually make. So, if you meet that block with self criticism and shame, you should prove its point. You said The untested version was in danger, then attack yourself to confirm it. The protection digs deeper. The cycle gets stronger and not weaker. So basically, a better system hands the pattern better tools. More discipline hands it a better cover story, and neither of one touches the thing actually running underneath. Then we have the information answer, and this is the sneakiest one for smart people, because research feels like progress. Reading, connecting ideas, sharpening your model, these are real mental work that give a real sense of moving forward. The content of every productivity book is genuinely useful. The content is not the problem. The problem is that you use gathering information as a stand in for the action the information is about. So every hour spent perfecting how would you do the work is an hour the work stays untested. So the untested version survives whole. Every fix you would reach for fits the pattern instead of breaking it. One thing actually breaks it, and that is the part worth staying for in this video. So the stillness is trying to tell you something. When people finally stop tuning long enough to let the quiet arrive, what surfaces is something specific. A picture of themselves, detailed and kept alive, that needs them to stay still in order to stay whole. The discomfort was there the whole time. The stillness just turns the volume up on it, which is exactly what makes it useful. It points straight at the thing you have been moving to avoid. So the real move is not another system. The real move is to look at the picture straight on and ask what you are keeping it safe from. The answer is always a version of the same thing, finding out where the ceiling actually is. Not whether you will hit some goal, finding out in real results what you make when you try. In plain terms, you are afraid that if you go all in and it comes out average, you will have proof you are average. So you never go all in, and the proof never comes. That feels like a threat to something at your core, which is why your mind has spent years steering around it. What happens when you let the results pile up is not what the protection predicts. The work you make is never the fantasy. It is also not nothing. So real output, gathered over time, becomes solid ground of its own. Your sense of self starts updating from what you actually made instead of from the picture. Your drive stops pointing at the untested version and starts pointing at last week's work and what comes next. The ache that lived in the gap between the picture and your life fades because the gap was only kept alive by refusing to find out. The kind of heart changes too. Before the heart is dread, a steady background weight that sits on you whether you are working or not, heaviest in the quiet. After the heart is effort, a real resistance you meet while doing the work, handled by doing it, gone when you stop. So it is the same word but a completely different feel. Dread eats at you, effort builds you. The work costs what it costs, and the cost stops following you around once you put it down. The work you're scheduling around is usually close to the surface. It is often the first thing on your mind in the morning before you pick up your phone. It is the thing you feel missing in the 3 seconds between closing one tab and opening the next one. You know what it is. The system you built is this good for one reason. What it protects matters to you. So the pattern in plain words is that you carry a version of yourself you have not tested. It stays whole because you stay in motion. The motion is real, the work shows, and the busyness is truly felt. None of that changes what the busyness is doing. Seeing the pattern clearly, without beating yourself up, is the start of something other than a productivity fix. The question it opens is whether you are willing to let go of the untested version and you will let it meet real results and find out what is actually there. Your answer is what decides the rest. So you know what the thing is. The busyness protects an untested version of you. Better systems feed it. More discipline feeds it. More research feeds it. The only thing that breaks it is letting that version meet real results. You are not failing to find the right system. You are succeeding at keeping the You are not failing to find the right system. You are succeeding at keeping the thing untested. There is a difference, and the difference is everything.